I want to take this photo of you using scene modes. Haha! Get it? Are scene kids still a thing these days? Did they all turn into hipsters?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm getting old. I need to lie down.
So this week I'm gonna do the video, and it's gonna be about withers.
Hey everybody, this is Jimmy, and you're watching JimmyAmericaPhoto because it's Friday night and you have no friends.
The only reason I'm here.
Oh, I'm your friend. Scene modes are the automatic modes that change your camera's built-in settings to give you a more accurate and prettier photo. All you have to do is pick a scene that best matches your surroundings and away you go. Like a missile or a rocket. Rocket Man! Burning through the sky so high!
I'm using pet mode on my imaginary camera.
What's the aperture on that thing?
1 million?
That's a bad thing.
-1 million?
Ooh! When you set your camera to automatic mode, it sets a shutter speed and aperture and ISO, judging by the light coming in through the lens.
No! Too hard!
When you set your camera to automatic mode, it guesses based on what it can see.
The wizard inside your camera.
The wizard inside your camera takes a guess, judging by the amount of light that it can sense. Does that work?
Yes.
Okay, but when you set it to a scene mode, you're basically giving it a little bit more information and helping it make that guess. So if you're at a birthday party and you set it to birthday mode, it's going to take a guess and be like, okay, you're either photographing people indoors, because birthday parties are usually held indoors, or you're taking a picture of the cake, and it's going to judge based on the candlelight and stuff like that.
The wizard in my camera sure is pretty smart.
I know, right? It's amazing!
I bet he has a long beard.
While scene modes can be found on DSLRs, where they really shine is on smaller censored cameras.
So why is it better on a small camera than a DSLR?
It's because DSLRs have a lot of buttons. And once you actually know what those buttons do, it's actually very easy to go ahead and change a setting. But on your smaller cameras, usually the options to change things like your ISO and your aperture are buried really deep inside menu structures.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well,
it's not like the scene mode on a small camera is better than a scene mode on a big camera.
But it's much more convenient on a DSLR to change those settings with buttons. Anyway, we'll have a race. Right back. Okay, my DSLR, your mirrorless 4/3. You know how to change your ISO?
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna have a race to see who can change their ISO from 100 to 800 the fastest.
Yep.
Loser has to do the dishes for a week. Sound good?
Yeah.
You're on. Ready? Go. Done.
It's not fair because I pressed the wrong button.
Oh, that's alright. Do you want to have a rematch?
Sure.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Go. Done.
Done.
That's okay, honey. I won't rub it in your face. Will of the Warrior! Yeah! 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 Loser!
Are any of you guys looking for a girlfriend?
She's mine, back off! Mine. So to make things a bit quicker and easier, companies decided to invent things called scene modes, such as night portrait and sports. So let's see how well these actually work. Ah, here we have some flowers. Let's give flower mode a go, shall we? Using the touchscreen makes things quite easy to navigate. Set it to flower mode. Ah, okay. So it gives you a nice little composition grid. Very handy. And because you can change your aspect ratio, let's take one for a 1:1 ratio. Actually, it does a very nice job. But it's easy to see flowers and go, oh, flowers, I should use flower mode. What if your scene is a little bit more specific and doesn't have a scene mode named after it? This person's being mugged. Let's see what we have on offer. Now, I don't think night portrait will do, because it's actually not that dark, and the camera suggests that the person stays still for at least 1 second. Frankly, I don't see that happening here. Sunset, I'd say either portrait or sports. Now, portrait will give you nice, rich skin tones, but what good is that if the person's face is too blurry from moving around too fast? I'd say let's go with sports. Perfect! Now, when you set your camera to sports mode, basically you're saying, let's not worry so much about perfect picture quality and focus more on getting a faster shutter speed so that we can freeze the action. You do end up with a grainier photo, but hey, at least it's not blurry. Whoa!
Help me next time, Jock! I'm coming for you, mugger!
While using scene modes can actually seem to some people... Don't say naughty while I'm recording.
I'm using the dark mode.
While using scene modes can seem to some people like they've given up on learning how to take photos, there is actually quite a bit that you can learn from them.
Like what?
Like all kinds of things. For example, on the GF3 when you set it to portrait mode, it recommends that you use a telephoto lens. This is because at shorter focal lengths, the image proportions can become distorted.
Yep. Come on.
Okay, when the numbers get smaller, like on a lens how you have the numbers 18 to 55, when the numbers are smaller, you get like a wide-angle lens kind of effect. Like on those cute photos of puppies, where like they have like the really big long nose, that's a wide-angle effect, and you don't want that on people. Like, what if I took a photo of you and you had like a huge schnoz, like puppies? You wouldn't want that, right?
Not so much.
Especially not printed on like a million different like cards that say, get well soon.
That would be a terrible card.
That would be a terrible card. Especially if you want a close-up of the face. It's better to take it with a long length lens further away than it is for me to use this lens right here. So obviously, using a telephoto lens for portraits makes a lot more sense. Telephoto means zoom. That's all it means, it's just fancy talk. We already mentioned how the ISO in sports mode is bumped up so that you can freeze the action. But it actually does the exact same thing in food mode, because restaurants are usually romantically lit and dim, and there's not usually a whole lot of light. So you could use your flash, but the camera advises against it, because food doesn't really look good with a flash on it. Well, not a direct flash anyway, but you wouldn't have time to set up like 6 different softboxes and lights if you're at a restaurant.
Probably not. I don't think they'd appreciate it.
In landscape mode, your camera automatically sets the focus to infinity, which basically just means that anything past a certain point, on this camera, it's about 5 meters, is going to be automatically in focus. In silhouette mode, it meters for the brightest area.
Meters, what is that crap? Too hot.
Metering is trying to figure out what shutter speed to use based on how much light there is. Does that make sense? If a lot of light's coming in, the wizard says, oh, that's a little bright. Hey guys, use a faster shutter speed.
The shutter speed is the sunglasses.
The shutter speed could be the sunglasses, yes.
I made this too complex.
I would love to see a little animated graphic to go along with this though. Unfortunately, we just don't have the budget. Normally, the camera would try and expose for both and say, let's find a good middle ground. But in silhouette mode, it says, don't worry about the person, just focus on getting the pretty sunset done right. And that's metering. Wizards and sunglasses. There's a lot that you can learn from these scene modes, so have a play around. It's kind of like learning how to walk before you can run. That's all for this week. I'm still trying to figure out what day to post these. I'm thinking I might actually go Fridays. And tune in next week when we talk about shutter speed mode. It should be a clicking good time.
Terrible.
Too good for shutter speed pods?
Yep. Bye.
Bye!
And then you're like, and the wizard's like, work done! And you're like, thank you, wizard, that is a perfect picture.